Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap podcast from SNXweave, where we give quick weekly recaps of news and important updates from the previous week from the Spartan Council and core contributors, as well as discuss what the Grants Council and ambassadors are up to, so let's get started. The first mainnet upgrades for v3 are currently with the auditors. This includes SIP 318, 319, and 320. The IPFS node is also in public alpha right now, and the CCs are trying to get some initial users running it to get some feedback. The CCs are also anticipating fixed reviews from OpenZeppelin back on the spot market implementation sometime this week. Next, the Spartan Council and CCs had a conversation last week about the different v3 SUSD contract. To preface, a new contract would allow debt from v2 to be distinguished from debt in v3. To keep the existing contract, the whole database would have to be written in the new ERC20, and all of the collateral would have to be force migrated in a single transaction, which would be a massive, expensive, and risky operation to put through on a single block. DB added that an alternative to this would be to pause v2 for an extended period of time to allow for all the steps to be done with more control. Noah said he thinks the current migration plan is far more appealing than doing a hard cutover from a risk mitigation standpoint. Adam agreed that the current migration plan seems to be the best course of action, especially after hearing the scale of the transaction that would be required to keep the v2 contracts. The tentative date range for a major v3 upgrade release is towards the end of May. This would be a deployed, audited, and relatively feature-complete system without collateral or incentives yet. In Perps v2 updates, there are a few more issues identified that will need to be addressed before the release of SCCP 293 to update perp parameters. CCs are planning for a release sometime this week to address the issues. Also, Perps Watcher is now live at watcher.synthetics.io, which shows active trades and current positions of different wallets, so be sure to check it out. There were also a couple of SIP presentations last week, so let's briefly review them. The first was SIP 321 for assorted core system improvements. This SIP, presented by Noah, proposes adding various improvements to the core system which will improve overall user and developer experience. The first one of these fixes is better methods to return addresses of the stablecoin and Oracle Manager. This is necessary because the v3 architecture relies on proxy routers, and the stablecoin and Oracle Manager have their own, which is different from the core system proxy router. This fix would streamline the process for integrators. Next, the constant node to the Oracle Manager will streamline the creation of test scenarios, but has production use cases as well, such as ensuring that a minimum price would be returned in combination with a reducer node. This is mostly a useful feature for testing, but there could be some potential use cases outside of testing, although it's not something that would be used in typical markets. The create account method, which does not require a requested account ID parameter, automatically generates a valid account ID, creates the account, and returns the ID. This will simplify smart contract integrations and remove the possibility of account creation failure due to the same account ID being requested in the same block. An advantage of setting it up this way is that UIs can construct multi-calls and create a custom onboarding experience. Lastly, the locked method in the iMarket interface will be renamed to minimum credit. This should more clearly reflect that the value returned by this function represents the minimum credit capacity that the market expects from the pools providing it with liquidity. The purpose of this value is to put a number on how many withdrawals are expected in a specific market denominated in dollars, and transactions that cause this number to drop below what is expected will automatically revert. The vote is currently open for this SIP. The next presentation was SIP 298 to add 9 new markets to Synthetics Perps v2. The SIP was previously presented and proposes adding new perps markets that will initially be paused pending an SCCP to update parameters. The SIP has passed with 5 votes in favor. For a quick Grants Council update, the team has made some final edits to their budget before meeting with the Treasury Council last week to discuss the upcoming epic. They also went over updates on the stats page, did a Discord bots overhaul, went through a developer roundup, and talked about a Twitter SNXweave bot that's coming soon. And speaking of upcoming deliveries, they have officially announced a launch date for the NFT project, coming soon. And that's it for today's updates. Be sure to check out our weekly recap blog post, share this podcast link, and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear more about from SNXweave. Thanks for listening.